Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with my predictions for tomorrow's Full Gear pay-per-view. AEW has been expertly building this for weeks, and I cannot wait to see what happens. There's even a special episode of Dark tonight, right here on YouTube to hype us up even more. Anyway, it's time to make some picks, and see if I can once again retain my championship. So, let's run down the card. First, on the buy-in pre-show, recently signed AEW wrestler Serena Deb defends the NWA World Women's Championship, yes, you heard that right, against Allison K. I'm not familiar with Allison, and I doubt they'd promote a title change for another promotion on their pay-per-view, so I'm going with Serena Deb. Next is the match that was originally supposed to be on the pre-show, but got bumped to the main card by popular demand. It's fan favorites Orange Cassidy vs. John Silver of the Dark Order. I love both of these guys, and this is really hard to pick, but I think I'm going to take Orange Cassidy just because he's the more proven ratings draw. However, I highly recommend checking out John Silver's antics on Being the Elite. We're headed to the Hardy compound for a cinematic-style match as Matt Hardy takes on arch-nemesis Sammy Guevara. I really thought after their disastrous all-out match that this feud was dead already, but in honor of Halloween, it's risen from the dead like a zombie. Thankfully, being pre-taped and edited should avoid those same mistakes. I think they're turning Sammy babyface soon, and a loss here could give him a lot of sympathy while rehabbing Matt's character a little, so I'm going with Matt Hardy. The stipulation here is that if MJF can beat Chris Jericho, he gets to join the Inner Circle. This is one of many matches that could go either way. On one hand, Jericho is super protected and almost never loses. On the other hand, the rest of Inner Circle doesn't want MJF in the group, so this is the perfect way for him to force his way in and either break them up or take over from the inside. Since that's the more intriguing story, I'm going with Maxwell Jacob Friedman for the win. Next, Hikaru Shida defends her AEW Women's World Championship against Nyla Rose with new manager Vicky Guerrero. Not only is this the only women's match on the main card, it also has the least build of any match on the entire pay-per-view. Nyla is booked as an unstoppable monster, but I think the big money match is Shida vs. Britt Baker for the title at the next big show, so I'm picking Hikaru Shida to retain. In what will likely be match of the night, Kenny Omega takes on Hangman Adam Page in the finals of the Eliminator Tournament to determine the number one contender for the AEW Championship. This story has been building for over a year and is so hard to pick. I really want to see Hangman redeem himself after getting tricked into breaking up the Elite by FTR. But Kenny is back to his New Japan form, and I think he's on a collision course with Moxley for the title. So I'm going with Omega. Speaking of the Elite, the Young Bucks challenge for the AEW Tag Team titles against the defending champs FTR. A 4-year-long story arc has finally culminated in this dream match, yet FTR have been quite vocal about their disappointment in the build. So, the Young Bucks completely revamped their characters and decided to throw in that if they lose, they'll never challenge for the tag team titles again. I'm not sure I like that. Cody really hindered his character early on with this exact same stipulation, and since there aren't any other tag titles to go after, you kinda have to put the belts on the Bucks, right? I think it makes more sense for FTR to retain, but with those changes in place, I'm picking the Young Bucks. Cody defends the TNT Championship against Darby Allin in a very interesting face-versus-face matchup. Go back and watch Cody's promo from this week's Dynamite to hear the history of these two. It's yet another toss-up and really just comes down to whether or not you believe Cody is willing to pass the proverbial torch to the new younger guy. I'm still not sure he is, so this is going with my heart more than my head, but I'm picking Darby Allin to win and become the new TNT champion. Also, I heard a rumor that Sting might debut in AEW as Darby's new manager, and oh my god, I would die if that happens. Finally, in the likely main event, Jon Moxley defends the AEW World Championship against Eddie Kingston in an I Quit match. This feud has nuclear heat, especially after Mox drug Eddie's mom into it this past week on Dynamite. Whereas before, fans were in agreement that Kingston had no chance of winning, now I literally cannot envision a universe in which Eddie ever says the words I quit. His promo was that powerful. With that said, I think AEW has some insane twist up their sleeve where Moxley retains but Eddie saves face, so I'm hesitantly going with Moxley. Alright, that will do it for my AEW Full Gear predictions. Make sure to check out my action figure review of the show on Sunday. If you like this, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Like the video, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on Twitter at PSUOptimus, or check out my best figure photography on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my review of this week's Dynamite, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.